I always said you were my dream man when I met you.
You did?
I did.
I don't remember that at all.
I am Joe, your favourite British 18th century cello. Come closer. Let me guide you through my mysterious world, full of wonders. Let's pull back the curtain of oblivion and discover the untold truth of Carrington Brown, which includes 30 years of stage, 15 years of therapy, and a lifetime of music.
My young love said to me, my mother won't mind, and my father won't slight you for your lack of kind. And he stepped away from me, and he did say, "It will not be long till our wedding." He stepped away from me and through the fair. And fondly I watched him move here and move there. And then he went home with one star.
That marvellous car was built in my early 130s. Movie magic. I remember well when they invented special effects.
I told you it was a bad idea to use a British driver.
And now we have no more money for our film.
And that's why we're going to have to make a documentary instead.
God save the Queen! King!
And fuck Brexit.
I was shipwrecked out on an island alone.
My current owners, they'd be nothing without me.
Definitely our first love in life is music.
No, you're my first love in life.
And then the second is music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
In this 13th century chapel is where we got married almost 20 years ago.
In a village of 29 inhabitants in southwest France.
One fountain of faith,
2 touches of tenderness,
3 pinches of patience,
4 spoonfuls of sympathy,
And 5 cups of compromise.
Pouring of passion.
7 liters of love. And of course, it's sweetened with sex. Over 100 people from all over the world came to our wedding.
Including my family from Jamaica. And we had to get permission from the mayor to use the church.
Yeah, that's right. You asked him, right?
No, that was your job.
No, in the end you said you would do it. That was on your list of things to do.
No, that was your job.
No, it was yours, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Well, that's why they closed the church down.
and that's why we have no friends anymore.
that's the recipe of
love,
the
recipe of love,
of love, the ingredients for love, the recipe of love,
Ooh, look at that jaybird. Gorgeous.
And this tour bus has been all around Europe. It's been up to Sweden, it's been to Croatia, it's been to Slovenia a lot, Italy. Very well-travelled tour bus that we've had for 12 years.
The advantage of taking the car is that you can just fill it with everything. You're not restricted by weight.
That's a bit dangerous for us, isn't it? 'Cause
Well, it is.
remember that time we came back from France, having been here for 3 months? We shoved everything in and literally you couldn't move in this van.
Welcome to Chez Carrington Brown in the Vallée de Lot, France.
Welcome to this very special place.
This is where we come for inspiration, to write shows, and to relax.
And this beautiful house has been in my family for the last 36 years, and we would love to show you around. So this house is over 300 years old.
Yeah, almost as old as me.
But as you say, darling, black don't crack.
Lucky for you.
This is our favourite spot in the house, this terrace.
For the silence and the views. Look at the birds and all the bees, and then the flowers and the trees.
And the ideas. This is where we discussed Brexit over breakfast and wrote the Brexit song.
Brexit? Oh yeah. We're not European anymore.
Great Britain was for many the land of milk and honey.
The Windrush generation, rebuilding of a nation.
Gin and tonic, fish and chips. Let these things never touch your lips.
You can see we are confused. No, we're simply not amused.
Brexit's a catastrophe. Britain now think they are free. David Cameron, Boris J. Adios, Theresa May.
No, we're English. But we're also German.
Deutsch.
6 years ago, we became German.
Unglaublich.
Oder? I had been working in Berlin quite a lot, doing various comedy shows, and I'd also played with orchestras there. And I had always enjoyed it because it's such a big international city with a lot more space than London, very green, and a lot going on. And so I said to Colin, what about Berlin? And he didn't know it so well, so he came to visit me. After 3 days, he said, yep, I could live here.
Brexit's a catastrophe. Britain now think they are free.
David Cameron, Boris J.
Totzines, Theresa. Brexit's a catastrophe. Britain now think they are free. David Cameron, Boris J. Au revoir, Theresa. Adios, Theresa. Auf Wiedersehen, Theresa May. Unjust!
Having done comedy in Britain, you know, because the British are well known for their humour and their comedy, about half the audience sitting there thinking that they're funnier than what's on stage. What's great in Germany is because they're not known for their humour, they are actually very, I would say, out of all the nations in Europe, they're the best at laughing at themselves. Doing comedy in German is a fun thing to do. Now, I mean, first of all, it's a great language to make fun of. So there's a lot of material within German itself. Like we work quite a lot in France, so the difference between the French and the Germans can laugh at themselves, the French not so much.
Il me prend dans il me parle trop. Je vois l'avion.
Who would you say was more British between the two of us?
I would say nowadays you are.
How?
Well, you're still more polite than me, I would say. Like, I don't know, I've got inherited this more German directness.
I would say you get more furious.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
And I think about things before I react.
You're solid as a rock, and I'm the, wild cat. I think it might be a little bit, though, that I've suffered from depression, to be honest about it. And when I'm depressed, I can't feel anything. So actually, I quite enjoy the feeling of frustration and anger that I can just, it's like a clear emotion that I feel.
Yeah, I don't like guacamole.
Oh, no. And I love guacamole and avocado.
I'm never happier than when I'm out with you shopping.
I like to walk. And you?
I don't.
Yeah, and you cook when it's for show and everyone goes, oh, aren't you lucky you got a husband who cooks? And I'm like, yeah, like he cooks every day.
Yeah.
Ich koche alles, was ich wollte, selbst die größte Sauerei. Und ich hatte immer Spaß, man wollte an mich ganz fly. Nudeln mit Floschen und ein Unterschwanz. Alles war so lecker und noch viel Fans.
Alles ist so lecker ohne viele Fans.
Eingeleckte Schnecken, 2 Kilo Glutamat. Frittierte Katzenkeule in Brennnesselsalat.
Flitte Keule in Brennnesselsalat.
Do you clean? Yes, you do
Yeah,
sometimes.
the thing is, you just never notice when I clean. That's
Of course
just typical.
I do.
No, you don't.
You see? Now we touch it. Now we touch it.
Nowadays, he loves to sit in the office and glue receipts to paper.
If they're given to me.
Okay, here's an example. You say to me, what are we doing tomorrow? You still do that today, as in heutzutage. What are we doing tomorrow? Like, do you not know what you're doing tomorrow? How come I know? What are we doing this week? You
No,
always
but I
ask me.
need to know.
That
This
I
is a
will
great
know.
thing about you. You carry all this information in your head, and then you say, oh, I don't want to be in charge. But actually, you do.
I met Colin in 2004 at the Edinburgh Festival, and it was very clear immediately that we had a very similar sense of humour. We made each other laugh. It was love at first sight, basically.
She came to my show because somebody recommended it to her. And then she came and spoke to me at the bar. It was clear from the first moment that we were going to be together. Absolutely.
And the Magnets was Colin's a cappella group. I had no idea who they were. It was amazing for me because my father, I come from an a cappella background, my father being in the King Singers. I hadn't really heard an a cappella group for years since my father left the King Singers that really impressed me like that. And it was like watching the King Singers of the 21st century. And we said within the first half an hour, we have to do something together. And we've written a lot of shows together now, I think around about 8 different shows, which includes an orchestra show, a big band show, an operetta. The orchestra show is now the one that's being performed with the symphony orchestra in the Philharmonie this October. And so this is a dream that's just starting to become true, and I don't want it to stop straight away. I want it to grow.
It took some time to get used to each other's process. And it took some time to allow each other to have our moments.
I come obviously from the classical music background, but also I went into stand-up comedy where I was solo and kind of free on stage to change things like on stage spontaneously. Colin comes from a theatre background where he learns a text and sticks to a text and sticks to a show for like 2 years and nothing changes. It's a question of finding a balance.
I get to work with a very funny person who I love. I do not think there are many people who have that opportunity.
Even though we're here in the remote countryside of southwest France, in a village of around 29 people, that doesn't stop us British from sticking to our traditions. For instance, we found the perfect spot for gin and tonic at 6 o'clock.
As we always say, I'll have a gin, fuck the tonic.
Whiskey and vodka, tequila and rum, brandy for breakfast, now isn't that fun? Grappa and ouzo, schnapps and liqueur, we're gonna drink them all, a remedy and cure. Do you remember when you could still drink? Wasn't it great when martini was pink?
Looking at life through a rose-colored glass, lost forgotten days, rolling in the grass.
Gin and tonic every day keeps the doctor far away. Wine and beer will make you queer. Beer then wine and you'll be fine.
Joe, always drinking.
Ah, there you are. Welcome.
Welcome to the inside of the house. This is the original room that dates back to, I think, around the same time that my cello was built. And Joe, this year, he's 244 years old. So I guess you could say that we're just a bunch of old farts sitting around. Ah, talking of old farts.
I thought you were practicing.
I've been practicing my cello for 47 years. Could I take a break?
Yeah, but I wanted to watch Wimbledon.
Well, watch Wimbledon then. The great British tradition. What were you doing?
Working. Before I was a performer, I was also a salesman for various different things. Houses, clothing, hygiene chemicals. Whether you're selling something or you're performing something, which are also a form of selling, it's about convincing people that, you know, without seeing your show, their lives won't be complete. The first time I went to audition for a show in London, a woman said to me, oh, they're auditioning for Carmen Jones, which was an all-black version of Carmen the opera. I said to her, and here's the unsurety of oneself, do you think I'm good enough? And she said, absolutely 100%. Believe in what you are doing. And I have made my career on stage ever since that day.
I don't please it. This Taylor is not his style, nor even Liberace's smile. Something he can't see.
So my parents arrived in London in the early 1960s from Jamaica. There was nobody before me in the arts in my family. I was a young man trying to become a tax accountant. Can you believe it? We have a magazine in England, which is called the Stage Magazine. And so I would buy it every week, and I would send at least 10 letters out every week. And then whilst I was on tour with Carmen Jones, drums please, Simon Callow calls me and he says, I'm directing a piece at the Royal Shakespeare Company. I want you to come and do this. In 1996-97, I was in arguably the finest theatre company in the world.
The message right here is so very clear. Be true to yourself and don't have no fear. Pick your moment and choose your time. When the blues are gone, you're gonna be just fine.
I can't win, I can only lose. As long as I stick around with these sick of home blues.
When I first discovered Joni Mitchell, that is what I would say is my music. Definitely. I cannot think of a better lyricist, artist. In one of her lyrics, she says, my child's a stranger. I bore her, but I couldn't raise her. I get it. I get some of her pain because I have two boys. One of them I was not with full-time after he was 3, and the other one I wasn't with him full-time after he was 6. And I think this is very similar to what we bring on stage, our own story.
But I can't help falling in love with you. No, you.
I wanted to be a singer, actually, more than a cellist. I grew up singing from a very young age. In fact, I was told when I was born, apparently, I came out singing. And the midwife said, oh, she's going to be a singer. And my parents both went, no, she's going to be a cellist. My grandmother was the inspiration for the cello because she played the cello. And she was a very, very good cellist. In fact, at the age of 16, she had her own agent. She hoped that my father would be a cellist, and he didn't really take to the cello. He did learn the cello, and at 16, or 15, I think, he switched to the double bass. So then it was always in my father's mind that the next generation, so his first child, would be a cellist. So my grandmother, she bought 2 cellos. One was Italian and one was English. And the English one is my cello Joe, built in 1781. And she gave me the cello when I was 18. And then what could I call him, being such an old soul? So I decided to name him after his cello maker, his father, Joseph Hill. I wanted to be in theatre. But the problem was in the school, there was kind of a very good cellist, so they always wanted me to be in the orchestra. So there was this kind of rebellion at 16 where I didn't want to do the usual route, the way of just being a musician. Then went on to do masters of classical music on the cello. That's when I discovered comedy, and that's when I realized I could put my love of theatre into a show with just me. Going into comedy was definitely rebelling and going away from what my family thought I would be doing. And it took a while for them to accept. Then they started to take it a bit more seriously.
The show must go on. I take this literally. We never cancelled a gig due to illness. We're both very old school in that respect. And by old school, I mean the very idea of cancelling a show just comes nowhere in my psyche. In more recent times, I had a voice injury. I had a polyp on my vocal cords. I don't think I really understood how severe that could have been.
I'm going through the menopause. It's not changing into menopause. I'm going through the menopause. I have been for about the last 6 years. So, you know, it's about accepting yourself. Connects a little bit to the Botox Baby song, which I feel quite strongly about. There's nothing more attractive than a naturally aging body. And to me, it's not very attractive to see someone fighting against that. And so everything starts to look very...
I'm your Botox baby, you sexy Botox lady. I had a cup-sized tea.
That was too small.
Smith said he.
Good.
So I got a double G, but I could hardly see. It took more than one injection to see the first erection. I'm your Botox baby, you sexy Botox lady.
When I was in the Boys Brigade, which is a kind of pseudo-military organization, I joined when I was 8. And I heard the bagpipes. This was where my love for Celtic music began. I started learning the bagpipes when I was 10, almost 11 years old.
In this barn behind me here, there's a very, very special bagpipe museum. Who would have thought, in the middle of nowhere here in France? And they are actually handmade by the owner, Robert, who is here today. And when Colin first saw this museum, he almost fell over in disbelief.
In Scotland, you got only one bagpipe, but here we have all these bagpipes. They're all made here by me.
Wow.
And they are all coming from Occitania. For example, this one is coming from Limoges.
Yes.
Very close from here. Bordeaux, from Pyrenees. Look at that. Mirrors. What can you say about your bagpipe?
It's loud.
Mine too.
Far more complicated than mine.
These are the bagpipes from the Land de Gascogne. They are called bourre, that means breathe. And it was played crossed. These were the legs from the goat, so you have to put them like that to play. Very special playing. Because on your Scottish pipe, you got only one chanter, okay? And this one has two chanters.
A little bit greedy, but yeah.
Two!
This is goat.
Goat.
You're going to hear the goat screaming. But I think I still prefer my Scottish bagpipe.
Sure.
So, yes, but don't be sad. We might be seen as old-fashioned in terms of what we do. Somebody might not book you again. So whether you take that as a negative or a positive, you have to adapt. As Charles Darwin says, you change or you perish.
Mr. Brown, where are you going, Mr. Brown?
Isn't it a lovely day?
Mr. Brown knows every corner in this town.
Will you follow me on my way?
Mr. Brown, where are you going today?
In this beautiful world, with all its troubles, the world is still a beautiful place. Listen up. How did I come to write Go Make a Change? The motivation was basically, what are we doing to the world and what can we do to make it better? I wrote it, as I say, in 2 hours. In this room that we're sitting in, yeah, the song kind of wrote itself.
I tend to arrange and compose music on the cello, mainly because that's my main instrument. I sometimes go to the piano because, yes, you can have more than one voice and you can try out the harmonies. So I did a lot of research on Beethoven, and then I took the theme of Ode to Joy and turned it around and then put it in a minor key, just so it was slightly different. So that was the kind of the genesis of the Go Make a Change theme.
Here we go. Look at the birds and all the bees, and then the flowers and the trees are gently swaying in the breeze. And don't forget the 7 seas, the children playing in the park. The stars will come out after dark. Mother Earth will be protector. She has a fragile architecture. Ode to joy, a dedication, a celebration of civilization. It's all good, this state of grace. The world, it's a beautiful place. Ode to joy, a dedication, a celebration of civilization. It's all good, this state of grace. The world, it's a beautiful place.
I like to write with paper and pen. There's something about writing on paper, some kind of connection. If you make a mistake, obviously with the computer you delete it, but with a pen, you just mark it through, but it's still there.
The world is a beautiful place.
The world is a beautiful place.
The sun and moon, me and you.
The 7 seas.
The world is a beautiful place.
The children playing in the park.
Go make a change.
Yeah.
In 1996-97, another job came for Jesus Christ Superstar. Not on stage, it was the film. Sitting here wondering just how to make a home.
Not one but two.
One is too few.
So if I do it, I want to do it with you. With you.
Can it be? Am I finally alone? Free at last! Oh, bugger, they're coming back.